What is going on, everyone? My name is Tim Williams. We're here to talk about tonight's 12-game MLB slate over on DraftKings. It is Tuesday, September 7th. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What is going on? We're going to talk a little MLB baseball, DFS, some strategy, pitching, hitting, overs, unders, all that good stuff here. So let's just jump right in here. First game we have to talk about is the Kansas City Royals taking on the Orioles. 10 over under here. The Royals are the away favorites. Kowar taking on Wells. So you got two young pitchers going up here, hence probably the high over under total. They are playing in Camden Yards, so definitely don't like the pitchers here in this one. Kowar at 5.3K. He'll start here. 16.3% strikeout rate here. A very comical 18.6% walk rate, albeit a small sample size, and he has looked a lot better his last start out. 21% fly ball rate, though, giving up a ton of hard contact 50% of the time. But the key measure here is the low fly ball rate. And I think the Orioles are going to be very popular as far as the bats go. So that's a little bit of concern for me for the Orioles bats. On the other side, Wells at 5K, 16% strikeout rate here, just not a ton of upside for either pitcher for that matter. 9.7% walk rate. He himself is also giving up a 50% hard contact rate. Only 26.5% ground ball rate. So that's a bit of a concern there too. The ball has to go somewhere, right? He's not striking out a ton of guys. He is giving up walks. He's not getting a ton of ground balls. So, that ball has got to be flying out somewhere. I definitely like some one-off candidates here for the Royals. Really love Perez at 5.8K. He's just been mashing the ball. What he's doing is completely ridiculous, especially someone you can plug into the catcher spot. 339 ISO against left-handed pitching this year. He looks solid. Mondesi is back at 4.4K. I really love his upside. I think he's priced way too cheap. 403 ISO against lefties this year as well. And then, the Orioles just don't have a very good bullpen. So I don't mind maybe getting to a three-man stack or a one-off with one of those names. And on the Orioles side, Mullins at 4.8K is a decent play. Santander, Stewart, those are the three I'm kind of more interested in. The Orioles have been bad against right-handed pitching in general this season. These three all have an ISO over 222, against right-handed pitching. So kind of interesting there. I would, out of the three, I like Mullins and Stewart the most. But I think they're going to be the most popular. So definitely lean a little bit more on the Royals one-offs there. So next game we have here is the Blue Jays taking on the New York Yankees. Yankees favorited here at home, 8.5 over under. You have Steven Matz taking on Garrett Cole. Matz 8.4K, 22.6% strikeout rate here, 32% fly ball rate, which is great. However, he is pitching in Yankee Stadium, kind of a bandbox of a stadium against a lot of power bats. So, I don't mind Matz, but not particularly in this matchup here. Cole on the other side, 11.8K. This is the first time I've really seen a pitcher priced up this high. Tougher matchup maybe against the Blue Jays, but Cole's upside is just, he is elite. 36.4% strikeout rate here. He's just so good at limiting power against right-handed batters this season. Blue Jays, most of their power and most of their upside in their lineup comes from the right-handed side of the plate. So I really like Cole. If I can get there, if I have the extra salary to do so. If I'm taking any Blue Jays bats, it's probably for a one-off purpose. Cole, we know, can give up a home run here and there. Guerrero at 5.2K is just too cheap. 329 ISO against righties. Remember, this game is in Yankee Stadium here. So Semien as well, 4.8K, 277 ISO against righties. I just prefer one of those two bats if I'm looking to home run hunt. On the other side, the Yankees are so up and down. They're just really hard to nail. Stanton at 5.3K looks to be nice, but I'm not going to pay that price for him. Same with Judge at 5.8K. Like, these guys really have to hit their home run to meet value. Void at 3.8K, I think, is the third power bat that I would likely get to, but I just don't love the pricing on the Yankees compared to their upside, although they do have that upside. Next game we have to talk about is the Rays taking on the Red Sox. 9.5 over under here. Rays are favorited on the road. Rasmussen taking on Rodriguez. Rasmussen at 7.3K, just not a ton of interest there. Tougher matchup in Fenway Park. 25.8% strikeout rate, 10% walk rate. Does a really good job limiting the fly balls here at 28.6%. That might take me away from Red Sox bats. Rays have one of the best bullpens in all of baseball as well. So on the other side, Rodriguez at 9K. I think it's a fair price for a fair pitcher. 27% strikeout rate here. He really struggles against left-handed batters, but the Rays mainly are right-handed here. So let's talk about the Rays bats, right? ISO over the last 30 days versus left-handed pitching. So Lau at 5K, probably one of my favorite bats on the Rays at 292 ISO against lefties. Zunino at 4.5, a whopping 632 ISO. Franco at 5.3K, really so much better against left-handed pitching there at a 310 ISO. Arozarena 207 ISO. Cruz as well. He mashed yesterday, 231 ISO there. So Rays have a lot of great bats, or it's going to come down to, Rays bats or how good Rodriguez is on the mound. Remember, struggles versus left-handed batters, but the Rays are mostly right-handed here. So it's going to go one way or the other. I think the slate's big enough where you could just kind of fade it. And then Red Sox bats, who guys in play for me, it would be Bobby Dahlbeck at 3.4K, 595 ISO against right-handed pitching over the last 30 days. What he is doing has been pretty remarkable. Renfroe at 4.5K. If you have the extra salary, 370 ISO against righties the last 30 days. But in general, I'm not looking really to get to too many Red Sox bats here because the pricing, a lot of these guys are insane. So don't mind Rodriguez as a contrarian pitcher option. Don't mind the Rays here because of what they've been doing the last 30 days against left-handed pitching. Next game we have here is the Nationals taking on the Braves. 10 over under here. Braves are favorited at home. Espino taking on Fried. Espino 6.4K. I just don't have a ton of interest. I don't have a ton of interest in any pitchers going against the Braves moving forward. Just what they've done with that lineup is pretty remarkable after the trade deadline here. And then on the other side, Fried 8.6K, 24.4% strikeout rate here. I think it's fine. I think he's priced appropriately, right? The Nationals don't have the best lineup, although I think they've been hitting pretty decent since the trade deadline, I should say. 59% ground ball rate for Fried. So I think Fried is going to be highly owned. I think there's going to be a decent group of that mid-tier to upper tier options that are going to be maybe a little too over-owned, Fried being in that mix, but I like his upside compared to some of these other guys who might be a little bit more chalkier. So give me some Fried here. As far as the bats go, I'm out on the Nationals. We got to cut some of these teams out. So I'm off of them. In play, I really love the bottom of the order for the Braves. Duvall at 4.1K. He's got a whopping 424 ISO against right-handed pitching the last 30 days. Darno, if he's starting at catcher at 3.7, looks like nice value. Rosario, same thing, 3K. I like his upside there, but I think the Braves lineup in general, they're going to be pretty popular. They're going to be kind of higher owned here, but very much all in play 1 through 8, no doubt about it. Next game we have here is the Reds taking on the Cubs. 9.5 over under here. Miley taking on Sampson. Miley 8.2K. I don't love the upside here. The matchup is decent. 18% strikeout rate here, though. We'll talk about the bats, but I'm pretty much off of Miley here. I think if you were to get to Miley, it would just be in those large GPP formats, and you're just kind of being a little contrarian to some of the other guys like Max Fried and stuff. So on the other side, Sampson at 5K really struggles against left-handed batters. I think the lefties are in play against Sampson here. Naquin at 2.9K is just way underpriced here. 438 ISO his last 30 days against right-handed pitching. So that'll be nice. I'm sure he'll be very owned as a one-off. Votto at 4.9, 361 ISO against righties this year. These Reds bats are kind of struggling a little bit, but I think they're very much in play. Moustakas, Max Sherrock as well, if you just need a punt play. Cubs on the other side, I actually think some of these bats are in play. If I'm taking a one-off, I like Schwindel here at 3.5K, 400 ISO against lefties here. Wisdom looks pretty solid. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but at 4.8, he has a 329 ISO against lefties. Hermosillo will probably be leading off, 2K flat minimum. I think he's in a good spot. 286 ISO against lefties as well. I think you can throw Hap in the mix at 4K, a little honorable mention there, but I don't mind a Cubs 3-man stack. It allows you to pay up for some other bats, allows you to pay up for some pitching here, but also I think Swindle will be a fine one-off candidate. Next, we have the Phillies taking on the Brewers, 8 over under here, so a lower implied total. Nola taking on Laurel. Nola 10.6K. I think he's fine. 29% strikeout rate here. He's been pretty reliable all season, but Brewers bats are kind of been tough. So I probably won't get to a lot of Nola, but I think he's one of the better pitchers on the slate, of course. Laurel on the other side, 8.8K. I think he's just priced up a little bit too high. 22.7% strikeout rate here. He really limits power and damage. So because of that reason, I'm kind of off of the Phillies, and I'm off of the Brewers bats as well against Nola. But Phillies, a couple bats worth noting here as a one-off. McCutchen at 3.8. I don't love the price. Galvis 3.6. But if you just kind of fall in land and you need somebody at shortstop or you need an extra outfielder, I don't really mind those guys. Next game here, we have the Dodgers taking on the Cardinals, 8 over under here. Dodgers are favorited. You have White taking on Hap. White 6.8K, 24% strikeout rate, not too horrible, 10% walk rate. I really don't love that. He's only expected to pitch about 3 or 4 innings, so I am off of him. On the other side, Hap 7.1K taking on the Dodgers. No, thank you. 17% strikeout rate here. Horrible against right-handed batters here. 254 ISO power against righties here. So give me some of those righties bats on the Dodgers. I think they're going to be super low owned on a 12-game slate. I really love Albert Pujols. Yes, throwback here, 2.7K. He is so cheap. I don't think anybody's going to play him if you're making a Dodgers stack. 529 ISO against left-handed pitching over the last 30 days. So I like his chances here tonight. Seager, Turner, Justin Turner as well. Smith at catcher at 4.2K if he starts. Give me some Dodgers here. And then I'm kind of just off of the Cardinals. Next game here, Mariners taking on the Astros. The Astros are favorited at home, 8.5 over under. Gilbert taking on Odorizzi. Gilbert 8K. I just don't want to take any pitchers against the Astros at this point. They're kind of getting fully healthy. Their bullpen is pretty nasty. So Gilbert at 8K, 25% strikeout rate here, 20% strikeout rate over the last 30 days. So a lot of these young pitchers who are kind of seeing the full grind here, I think it's really taking a toll on them. So Gilbert being one of them. There's another one later we're going to talk about as well, who we're seeing some regression, but 41% fly ball rate for Gilbert, and like I said, he's a rookie facing a tough offense in the dog days of summer. So I'm off of him. I'm off of Mariners bats. Odorizzi at 7.5K. I think he's going to be a little bit higher owned than I would like him at. 20% strikeout rate. I just don't think he flashes the upside regardless of the matchup. Giving up power to both sides of the plate, giving up contact. I'm just worried about his pitch count. Doesn't really seem like he's going to go more than 5 innings, 6 innings max. So I'm off of him. As far as bats go, I think Astros can make a contrarian, maybe a little 3-man stack here. I like the righties against Gilbert. Correa at 4.8K is way too cheap. Bregman as well, 4.3K. I think he looks good. Altuve at 5.3. And then I don't mind McCormick here as a 2K punt if need be. Next game here, the big one to talk about, Coors Field. Giants taking on Rockies. 12 over under here. Giants are favorited. You have Logan Webb taking on Chichi Gonzalez. Logan Webb, 9.5K. Respect the hell out of what he's been doing this season. 27% strikeout rate here. Massive ground ball rate, guys. 62% ground ball rate for Webb. Chichi on the other side, 5.1K. He's just a bad pitcher. I like the Rockies at home, but Chichi, 13% strikeout rate, extremely bad against right-handed batters, much worse against righties the last 30 days. But over the course of the season, 311 ISO against right-handed batters, just not going to get it done. The Giants are one of the best teams in all of baseball. They can hit the ball very, very well. We'll just have to wait and see what the lineup is before we make any further decisions here. But Posey at 4.4 is a nice catcher play. Brian at 5.3, he's been kind of day-to-day, so we'll see if he's in the lineup. Same thing with Yastrzemski. I like Belt a lot at 4.5K. That's just too cheap. Duggar in there, 2.6K. A guy with some power upside in Coors Field who is under 3K is pretty wild to me. The one thing about Duggar that I will say is He is a pinch hit risk for sure. Rockies have a terrible bullpen, so the Giants just look so damn good. And then on the other side, Rockies, I don't think I'm going to get to any Rockies bats here. I respect Webb and what he can do. The Giants bullpen is just disgustingly good. So next game here, we have the Rangers taking on the Diamondbacks, 8 over under here. Rangers have a combination of pitchers on the mound tonight, Lyles and Howard, both priced at 5.4K. So no thank you there. On the other side, Gallen at 7.9K. He's the other guy that is going to be very chalky on the slate tonight. 26% strikeout rate here, 10% walk rate. I get why he's chalky. The Rangers are pretty damn bad. But Gallen himself has been pretty bad against right-handed batters. And like I said, the Rangers don't have a ton of upside as far as the bats go, but they do have some power on the right side of the plate. Mainly the one guy I really like as a one-off here is Peters at 2.2K. I think it could easily pay off that price tag here. I think right-handed batters could be a very interesting contrarian mini stack here. We know your opponent is going to be taking a lot of Gallen in a lot of these tournaments. So I think maybe one or two of these Rangers bats might be a nice little contrarian play. As far as Diamondbacks bats go, as of right now, I have some interest for sure. Rojas, Marte, although Marte is at 5.1K, it's a little pricey. Peralta, Smith, I think they're all fine, viable options. However, I don't think they're going to go as low owned as people think they're going to go. So I think it might be kind of chalky bats. I might just avoid the Diamondbacks in general. And I do have interest in Gallen as a pitcher, but I just don't like a chalky Zach Gallen. So next we have the White Sox taking on the A's, 9 over under here. You have Lambert taking on Caprillion. Lambert 5.5K. I just don't have any interest. On the other side, Caprillion 7.8K. We're seeing his regression now. Same thing with Logan Gilbert. I think these young kids are getting tired. 23% strikeout rate here, 9.4% walk rate. He's been much worse as of late than those numbers imply. 46.5% fly ball rate. Yes, the ballpark is nice. They are in Oakland, but he's just kind of fallen off the map a little bit here the last few starts. So that being said, it makes me kind of interested in the White Sox bats. Some of these guys, and we'll talk about the 5 I really like. ISO versus right-handed pitching over the last 30 days. Okay, right? Grandal, if he's starting at 5.1K, a whopping 647 ISO. Jimenez, 274. Abreu, 275. Robert, 258. He might be leading off. And then Sheets, 3.2K, nice value option, a guy that you can plug in at first base, a guy you can plug in the outfield, a 600 ISO against right-handed pitching. Remember, this is all over the last 30 days. So I like Sheets a lot as a one-off. And then the rest of the guys I like as a stack. And then on the other side with the A's, I just don't think they're going to get there in a 12 game slate. So pass for me on the A's. The White Sox bullpen is just too damn good. Next game we have here and our final game here. So thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I like to do these as much as I can. Final game here, Angels taking on the Padres, 7.5 over under, one of the lowest on this slate. Padres are favorited here. Naughton at 5.9K, taking on Snell at 9.2K. Not interested in Naughton, not interested in any Angels really. Their bullpen stinks. Ohtani doesn't look like he's going to be in the lineup tonight, so I am off the Angels completely. On the other side, Snell at 9.2K. I really, really love his upside, 41.4% strikeout rate over the last 30 days, 31.4% strikeout rate on the season. Yes, he does have his control issues, 12%, 13% walk rate, but that's come down a lot over the last 30 days. So I think he has just as much upside as any pitcher on the slate, even Garrett Cole. So I like Snell here. He's going to be chalky, remember that, but this Angels team is just not looking good. As far as bats go, I like the Padres here. I don't think I'm going to go crazy and full stack them, but I like Tatis as a one-off at 6.1K. I think he's going to go a little bit under owned. Myers, 3.4K. He has been hitting the ball very well as of late. And then if I had to put a third one in here, it would probably be Cronenworth at 4.5K. He's hitting the ball a little bit better as of late. So like those guys a lot. Best of luck to you in your contest tonight. Remember, the goal is to not score the most points, but the goal is to beat your opponent. So keep that in mind. Take it easy. Best of luck. Peace out.